You have had a quick introduction into Angular dependency injection system and learned the two ways of injecting a service into a component. You have even injected the HTTP client Angular built-in service and used it to load data from a JSON file. In Angular, it is possible for you to create your own service file, inject that file, and use it to either get data, send data, or whatever task you need to accomplish. And that is what you are going to learn on this part. So let us go to Visual Studio Code and see it in action. In here, the first thing that we're going to do is that we're going to create a new folder. So here in the app, I'll just click the new folder button. I'll name this folder Services, press enter. Now in here you can either right click and then add a new file and then define all the service related code, or you can use the Angular CLI similar to how we have used it to create the components, directives, modules, and pipes. So for that, you need to right click and then go to Open in Integrated Terminal. And then to create a service, you need to type ng generate. I'll just close the Explorer. And then you need to define the service name, which in our case is going to be the movies service. After you press enter, you can see that the Angular CLI created two files. And if I just go to the Server Explorer and then here go to the services folder, you can see that in here we have the movies.services.ts. I'll just close this one now because I don't need it. And then here we have said that for each file type there is an Angular decorator, like for example for pipes. If I open the pipe, you'll see I have the pipe decorator. I have a pipe for module, a pipe for directives and components. For services, the Angular pipe is injectable. Now the provided in root in here defines that this service will be registered at root level, making this service a singleton service available throughout the entire Angular application. Now to configure this service, you need to just go to the app.module.ts, and then in here, in the providers array, you just need to type the movies service. Now that this service is configured, it means that this service can be injected in your components. So for that, let us go to the home.component.ts, and in here where we have the injection of the HTTP client, we're going to inject the movies service. So for that, private movies service and then movies service. Now, in the home component, we have access to all the methods that the movies service provides. Right now, we don't have any methods, but what we can do is that we can just add a method just for an example. I'll just go to the movies service. And in here, the first thing I need to do is to inject the HTTP client, so private HTTP client, and then HTTP client. Then I'm going to create the first method, which is going to be get fan favorite movies. I'll just copy and then just paste it in here. But instead of subscribing, all I need to do is to just return the HTTP client get. So in here, return this.http client.get. And then in the home component.ts, instead of using the HTTP client, I'll use the movies service. So for that, this.movies service, then get fan favorite movies. Then I'll remove the get part in here up to subscribe, and then simply subscribe to the get fan favorite movies method that is part of the movies service. Now, since we are in here, let us do the same for the get top movies. So just copy this one up to here, and then just paste it in here. Then simply just return it. So we are returning this.http client.get and then the other parameter, so the URL. Save, come back here, remove the HTTP client and replace it with the movies service, and then .get top movies, and then in here we have the subscribe part. So you can see that now we do not need the HTTP client anymore because HTTP client has been injected in the movies service we are using it within the movie service, so we don't need to have it in here. And if I just go back to the app, you'll see that I have the data and everything is working as expected.